What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here, as you guys can see on the screen. Today, I want to talk a little bit about Sofi Technologies Incorporated. Now, today was not necessarily the best day ever for Sofi. This is ticker symbol SOFI, by the way. Yeah, kind of a rough day. Down 1.9%. Intraday we were down a little bit lower. It was nice that we saw this little bounce back, from the lows to where we closed was actually up 1.7%. But obviously, after closing at 787 yesterday and closing at 772 today, not necessarily headed in the right direction. Now, it's been a rough market the past, week or two. It's been just a lot of stocks going down and down and down, a lot of red all over the place. And then even today, Dow Jones down 1.19%, S&P down 1.69%, NASDAQ down 2.18%, and the Russell down 0.71%. So, SoFi didn't do way worse than any of the major indices. It actually outperformed some of those indices, but it was mostly pretty much in line with the rest of the market. So a lot of this is not SoFi specific. A lot of this isn't, hey, SoFi sucks, it's the end of the world, yada, yada, yada. It's just, hey, we're going through a rough market period, and no one knows when it's going to end. It could be weeks, it could be months, it could maybe be years, but at some point we are going to come out of this, and then, we'll really get to see, how good SoFi and a lot of these other stocks are, because, it's about not getting killed when the market's down, but then when the market starts getting hot and all the stocks are going up, you got to be, going up with them, and not just going up, but going up at a pace that's just as good, if not better. So, even though today wasn't necessarily a great day, there are still plenty of things to talk about with SoFi stock, plenty of things going on, some good, some bad. That's what we're going to be running through in this video today. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that a ton. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. We just got this new mic. Hopefully it's sounding crispy and nice for you guys. And I would appreciate, maybe getting that subscription from you now. Of course, there is going to be no financial advice in this video. I'm not telling you guys to buy, not telling you guys to sell, nothing like that. But with that being said, let's get right into this. I don't know. Last month for SoFi, down 2.65%. Honestly, not terrible over a month. Like I said, not good. You can see we had a nice little run up here for a bit before kind of giving it all right back. But obviously year to date, this is where it's rough. If it ever loads, I want to say we're 45% down year to date. 50.77% down year to date. But some of the news and stuff going on for SoFi today is Sofi Technologies discount only looks good close up. This is from investorplace.com. So obviously they're saying, the discounted price of SoFi could potentially look good. Maybe this looks like it's the time to buy, but, when they're saying it only looks good close up, kind of getting the vibe that, hey, they're saying SoFi isn't the best buy right now, even though we're down almost 51% in the 3.5 months that we've had in 2022 so far. So they do say that SoFi seems like a reasonable wager given its disruptive potential. However, their big thing is that the student debt moratorium extension is only the beginning. It's better to think carefully about this discount. Now, yes, obviously the student debt moratorium is bad for SoFi when that gets pushed back, and obviously this is just the beginning, and we don't know when it's going to end. SoFi is already factoring in what if the student debt moratorium is not lifted through all of 2022? So, what they're talking about in this article is nothing that SoFi hasn't already thought of. It's something they haven't already considered. And Noto has come out and said, the CEO of SoFi, that, hey, we're going to be okay with or without student loans. Like, yes, it would be great if we could start making some money on this stuff, but, it's not like it's make or break for us. It's not like we're in some kind of massive trouble if the student debt moratorium keeps getting pushed back. So just kind of keeping that in mind. But some of the stuff they do talk about is SoFi stock and the inflation problem. Obviously a big thing going on right now. SoFi's total lending volume amounted to $12.7 billion in 2021. Of that, $4.29 billion or 34% was attributed to student loans. Naturally, any kind of moratorium extension for this critical revenue stream would be problematic for the fintech firm, thus leading to volatility for SoFi stock. Again, they use the word critical revenue stream, which I don't think is what SoFi themselves would use. Now, I guess you can make the decision of who you think's right between this guy writing this article and SoFi themselves, but just kind of keep that in mind at least. Probably even SoFi's most vocal supporters will concede that the student debt extension is an issue for the company in the near term. Yeah, it is an issue in the near term, but again, if you're in this thing for the long term, it might not ultimately matter that much. However, the bullish contention is that SoFi stock has already priced in this piece of bad news, which I would tend to agree with. Moving forward, as the markets do, investors will consider the long-term narrative, which they presumably believe to be encouraging. However, this guy's a different take. Primarily, one of the biggest impediments to almost any business is soaring inflation. And that is going to be trouble. And this guy thinks, that could potentially end up hurting them with, some of the loans and debt that they've already given out being bad loans and debt, but also going forward in the future, hey, maybe people aren't going to take on, big loans. They're not going to be making big purchases. They're not going to be, spending a ton or needing, SoFi for loans. If inflation gets so bad that people are trying to cut back, people are trying to save, if we go into some kind of recession, so that is obviously something to keep in mind. No one knows when we are going to go into a recession or how nasty things are going to get, but this is definitely things to keep in mind. So I don't know, that's at least one person's outlook. We had this guy on the SoFi stock subreddit who says super long DD to reassure himself as a shareholder. And yes, this is super long DD that I'm not necessarily going to be getting into, the weeds of, but I did want to at least come down to the valuation, because I'm sure this is what most people are caring about anyway, whether they're going to read through the rest of the thing or not. But this guy says, I have conservatively, keep that in mind, estimated the next 8 years worth of financials for SoFi. These numbers should not be taken as gospel and are just a rough estimate to visualize the opportunity ahead for SoFi if they execute well. I believe during this timeline, SoFi will reach a market cap of about $25 to $30 billion. And right now we are at $6.4 billion roughly. So he says, after discounting to today, we reach a share price close to $17. Now, there was some confusion about this. He is not saying $17 is his price target. He is saying $17 is what he thinks the stock should be worth today. And again, if it was at $17, that would put us, around like a $12 to $13 market cap. And then, if that, or $13 billion market cap, and then, that would give you some nice returns over the next 8 years if they are able to get into that $25 to $30 billion range. Now, there are a lot of difficult things to factor in, like stock dilution and whether that's going to slow down or not. The student loan moratorium, when is that going to end? All these different things, growth. So much goes into an 8-year prediction. But hey, at least this guy right now thinks that maybe SoFi could or should be worth $17, which is kind of cool because, again, right now we're sitting at $7.72, but that's just one person on Reddit. There also is this article posted to Doomberg.substack.com. Some context as to why SoftBank left the board. They sold a significant portion of their shares in SoFi. A lot of the problems under the hood with SoftBank. And this is a super, super long read. I mean, this thing, I'm not a big reader, especially about, this doesn't even have anything to do with SoFi or, necessarily even anything that I care about. So I was not able to read through the whole thing. But, the gist of it is that SoftBank and many other financial institutions and investment firms and banks and stuff right now are going through a rough period. Valuations had gotten crazy. Things are getting killed. People are having to make tough decisions. And yes, there is a lot of worries and things with why did SoftBank, leave the board of SoFi? Why did they, or why are they going to be leaving in the future? I don't think they've left just yet, but I think they announced they're going to be leaving, at some time in 2022. And this has some people worried, has some people scared, but just kind of understand it could have nothing to do with SoFi at all. It could have nothing to do with whether or not they think the company is good or bad or the stock is good or bad or whatever. These are obviously institutions that have a million things going on, and they got to make decisions. They got to cut stuff out. They got to focus on things. They got to, not focus on certain things. So kind of keeping that in mind. And of course, the top comment here, SoftBank being on the board isn't a good thing. This is actually great. So, hey, some people are worried that SoftBank's leaving. Some people are happy that SoftBank's leaving. Just kind of keep that in mind, obviously. Thought this was kind of cool. SoFi office complex in Jacksonville, Florida. This guy says he doesn't know why it's here, but it's a pretty big building. And yeah, I think it's cool. Nice that they're, are building these big facilities and having things, up and going. And it looks like a very, very nice kind of really cool office facility building, whatever. So that was just kind of a cool picture that I wanted to share. SoFi is originating loans, at least some home loans, in the bank. This guy posts a letter or email or something that he got. We've got great news. SoFi is now a nationally chartered bank, and SoFi will originate home loans in SoFi Bank. You recently started a loan application with SoFi Lending Corporation. SoFi Bank is prepared to handle your loan from here. So obviously people are saying this is a really, really good thing. The sooner they begin originating loans in the bank, the sooner their margins will improve. So this is a good sign. SoFi already starting to roll out some of this stuff, starting to make some big moves. And then we have this, the fact that some analyst downgraded his SoFi price target to $3. Do we think that's happening? We did get a mod comment here that says something to note. This is not an actual analyst downgrade. This is a Seeking Alpha writer who is saying he is lowering his fair value estimate of the stock, the price target of the stock, whatever, to $3 for SoFi. Now, again, we are currently at $7.72. Again, we are down 51% on the year. To get down to $3 would be really, really, really crazy from here. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would be very, very crazy. And the mod here just wants to remind everyone that, hey, the real analysts have an average price target of $14.35 with a low of $10, which, a little bit closer to where we're at today. Maybe not as crazy, but that's just what those people are saying. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about SOFI. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.